Okay, welcome back. We're going to take a look now at refining and redesigning for continuous improvement, because whatever quality you're at, whatever that value ratio, you always want to improve on it. So American companies have fallen behind these more advanced factories in other parts of the world because they did not have continuous improvement underway in them during the last 30 to 40 years. And actually, it's probably 40 to 50 years by now. Companies often use this long-term analysis to justify equipment and do not include continuing additional investments for improvements. We haven't taken a look at how we can improve and have used our investments towards that continuous improvement. Some companies actually have been overly attracted to return on book value. They really like that idea of depreciation. So their income's remaining the same, but because of that depreciation values on equipment, et cetera, on factories, it looks like they're doing better. So they want to continue to do that. And competition used to be primarily domestic. So we didn't take a look at how we could improve ourselves because nobody else was doing it. We were just taking a look at the countries in the United States, and if nobody else was doing it, why should we? So if it isn't broke, don't fix it was that ideology that was applied. We don't want to change anything, keep doing things the same old way. But we do want to improve. So we want to take a look at the two major approaches for improvement. And the first one is taking a look at breakthroughs. These are huge, major innovations. These are significant changes that make such a large improvement that it's worthwhile to disrupt our routine, what everyone is doing to implement these changes, to make these changes. Some examples of these are major cost savings or quality improvement suggestions, using new technology, new processes that can be developed by our research and design departments. All of these take a look at these major breakthroughs. The problem is only a small percentage of employees are charged with looking for these breakthroughs. So they're rare. They're not happening all the time. It's a rare occurrence that it happens. And some of these improvements are turned down because we don't have the ability to implement them. We don't have the money, we don't have the time, we don't have what's needed. It can be a great idea, but we might not have the technology at this time to do so. Back in 1960, my father wanted to put computers into schools and banks. Name me one bank or school that doesn't have a computer in it today. But at that time, the cost of computers and the amount of space needed was so great that it wasn't possible for banks and schools to implement them and teach their students and teach their employees to use these, that it was really just your government who was using it and major businesses at that time. Another way is making small improvements or incremental improvements. And this is a culture that you want to take a look at called Kaizen. And in Kaizen, which many leading Japanese companies have used to do continuous improvement, it's everyone is seeking tiny improvements, little tiny small baby steps. Every little bit helps. If you take a look at one small step and another small step and another small step, those little tiny baby steps can actually equal a huge improvement over time. Breakthroughs are still possible with Kaizen, although they are still rare. They can still happen. To have this Kaizen, this continuous improvement, you need high motivation, which needs actually management to stress this continuous improvement, and they need to accept a large number of suggestions. Having Kaizen does not mean that a suggestion box goes straight into the shredder. Your management actually has to embrace the idea of everyone's ideas have value, and we need to take a look at which one of these ideas or few of these ideas will work for us. What can we implement now? And again, some things might not be able to be implemented at this time due to cost, due to timing, due to technology barriers, but they're still looked at and given value for that. The incremental steps often result from efforts of individuals, quality circles working together, temporary teams that literally are established just to focus on one idea to implement an improvement in this one area. And when we want to take a look at this, we want to start off with saying what's happening now. When we make an improvement, we want to take a look at 5 basic steps. Observe and understand our current method. If we don't understand what we're doing now, then we really have no idea what we need to do to improve on it. So we have to understand what we're doing. Document our current method. Whether we are taking a look at charting what we're doing or we're just listing out how things are going, somehow we have to document our current method and then evaluate that method. What's happening? And where do changes need to occur? Where is there a bottleneck? Where is there someplace where we have a huge loss of funds? We're spending more than we need to doing a certain process. Where is it that we can take a look and propose these changes and then implement those improvements? And what I think is the most important, after we implement a change, evaluate that. If we don't evaluate changes that we make, how do we know if it was a good change or not? So we always want to reevaluate to make sure that any changes we have made are actually good changes. After that, we can go back and take a look at the method again to find out what else needs to be changed. Sort of like when we were getting rid of our bottlenecks. This is what we're going to take a look at with change. Some tools for improvement. We can use a flow process chart. This is taking a look at charting to find out what we're doing. And if you take a look, we have different things that happen within a process. The operation, the manipulation, the change that's being made, inspection, quality control issues, transportation, raw materials, work in process, finished goods, delays, where are things just standing or waiting, and storage, when are things being stored. And if you take a look, here is a chart that takes a look at operation, storage, transportation, inspections, and here instead of delay, it's called waiting. And different charts will have different symbols on them. Take a look at what your company uses or take a look what's out there on the web. You can find a lot of different flow charts, flow process charts. They're using it. This is just one example. There's also check sheets, histograms, location plots. All of these can be used to find out what's going on. Pareto Analysis, they help to determine relative frequencies of problems and their causes. Where do we have a problem? This is looking at website problems here. Is it broken links, spelling errors, missing images, script error? Where are the problems at? How much are each one? To get into all of the problems that are happening there. A cause and effect diagram or a fishbone diagram can help identify and isolate the cause or problems of causes. What is happening there? Brainstorming to help generate ideas about problems. When we take a look at brainstorming, we start with a very narrow view and we want to get a wide variety of ideas. This is good. We like this. This is better than a groupthink, which starts wide and ends up very narrow. We don't want to do groupthink because we limit our ideas that way. We want to brainstorm. Scatter plots can sometimes be used to evaluate whether there's a relationship between variables. If A happens, does it cause B? Are we taking a look at a cause effect or more likelihood of something happening? And we're going to take a look at the role of fostering of human creativity in the realm of improvement. That just means we're taking a look at people's ideas, people who are coming up with how can we fix this? And truthfully, you're more likely to get someone who is actually working in the area come up with a good idea than someone who's sitting back and say, oh, I can figure out all the problems. People who work in it know what works and what doesn't. They know where the problems usually occur. So take those ideas, foster human creativity, and take those ideas as merit. These are good ideas. They might not be able to be put into place at this time and implemented at this time, but they're still ideas that we can take a look at and value. That's what the role in fostering of human creativity means. We can do business process reengineering. Sometimes this is called downsizing. It's called right-sizing. It literally is a fundamental rethinking and a radical redesign of business processes to achieve dramatic improvements. What are we doing and how are we doing it and how can we improve on it? Can we make things simpler? Can we make things easier? Can we make things flow better? Can we reduce costs? These are all things that we take a look at it. And then there's importance of considering work from a perspective process. We want or process perspective. We want to take a look at the process that's going on and take a look at that perspective, not some managerial sitting up on high, but someone who actually works in there to see what the process is. Start out by identifying, review, update, and analyze, design, test, and implement all of these processes that are working in there to help make the process better. And many companies are engaging in a business process improvement to make things better, to work towards a better process that's better quality outcome, that's better for their people, that is less waste in the process, more sustainable process. All of these things can take a look in there. So when we take a look at characteristics that often appear in re-engineered work, several jobs might be combined. Instead of one person doing one thing, the jobs can be combined and they can take a look at multiple things that they can be doing. Workers make more decisions, more autonomy is given. Steps are performed in a natural order. And this is sometimes we think we know how things should be and we do it. But if you step back and look and do them in a different order, which is a more natural process, a natural order for the process, they might work out better. The process is flexible. That means that it doesn't have to be done this one strict way. Things can be changed. It can be used for multiple items. Krispy Kreme, making donuts with holes in the middle versus not, and the equipment that they're using for that. They don't have to have separate equipment. They literally just have a separate piece of equipment to change out for that. The work is performed where it makes the most sense. If you have a business and a process that needs lots of water, you don't want to build a plant in a desert. You want to be near water, so it makes sense to put it near water. Checks and controls are reduced so that you're still doing quality checks, but they're not constant. And you're still making sure that you have what you need to do what you need, but you're doing it less often so that it's easier and still maintaining that quality level. Reconciliation is minimized. We used to do reconciliations when I worked in a shoe store doing inventory checks. My sister works at a place that makes flow meters and they do reconciliations, I think twice a year, taking a look to make sure that things that were damaged have been written off, that they have X amount of product there because that's what they state that they have. And when you take a look at safety stock, when you take a look at ordering, you want to make sure you have what you think you have. So make sure it's been reconciled, because sometimes people forget to mark off, oh, here was this foam that we wanted to use and it had a big hole in the center of it, a big bubble. So we weren't able to use that piece. We had to cut off X amount on either side and scrap it. So here's this much less that we have. Did they write that down? Things like that. A case manager provides a single point of contact. Instead of having somebody over in marketing doing all the marketing and somebody over in operations dealing with how it's built and design is over in engineering, you have a single point of contact. So if there's a change in design coming from engineering, this person knows to talk to marketing, to talk to operations, to talk to those who are ordering and who is ordering your supplies, to make sure that those changes are in the system so that everybody knows. It's a single point of contact. You can either have a hybrid centralized or a decentralized operations. Both can be prevalent when taking a look at this. Some competitive improvements. Strategy. We're taking a long-term view. Not just short term, but our long-term strategies can help us create a competitive advantage. In product design, I've said it right from the first day, right from the first video in here, your wants and needs mean nothing. The customer's point of view. It's the customer's wants and needs that are so important. In the logistics network, recognize that your company is part of supply chain. Work with your supplier, work with your distributors so that you know that you have an easy flow, that things are working well, so that you're getting your finished product to your customer, so you're getting raw materials, the quality level that you need in, that you don't have a lot of scrap based on poor quality. Process and equipment. Seek and evaluate improvement suggestions. Take a look at new technologies that are coming up. Take a look at what's around for you to use. Take a look at what your employees who are working the line are doing. Working with arrangement and layout. Reorganize, remove, straighten. Steps that aren't needed, take away. If you can combine things, do so. Straighten it out so that it's the simplest route from point A to point B. Systems, scheduling, and control. Work to reduce your work in process. process. Your work in process can hide problems. If we're taking a look at a perfect just in time, we'll have zero work in process, but that's not realistic. A lot of times you do have work in process. So take a look at what's happening with those. How can you reduce that? How can you make it so that things aren't just sitting around? Your employees. Organize to support overall teamwork, including allowing portions of an organization to operate as self-directed teams. People like to be able to do things the way they want to do them. There are some things we have to take a look at that have to be done in a certain way, but maybe you can switch out people who are doing them and they can pick and choose. Years ago, I had a friend who did a videotape tour of Longaberger baskets, and she showed me some of it. And in Longaberger, they actually pick out every day or every week, here is a type of basket you'll be making. And if you're making a small basket, you have to make X number. If you're making a bigger basket, you make fewer. But they change it up, and the teams work, what do you like doing? What type of baskets do you like making, so that everyone gets a chance to do what they like. And there's some days you have to do something you don't like, but welcome to reality. But you're able to self-direct as much as possible. Quality. Devote more attention to understanding problems and correcting weaknesses. Remember, we're looking at that value ratio. Remember, our value ratio equals quality over costs. When we're taking a look at that quality over costs, what is the level that the people want? What is the level that our customers want? That's what we need to take a look at. Not what we want, what our customers want. Pay attention to that. Take a look at feedback. Take a look at warranty issues. Take a look at the internet, the social media, Facebook, Twitter, blogs. What are people saying about your product? Take a look at that and understand. Try to connect the problems. Make sure that you're working to have the quality, that value ratio that your consumer, your customer wants.